the boiler.
Oh, got it, understand.
Yeah,
Depending on the blend.
yeah, depending on the,
Yeah, I think it's out.
like I end up
The boiler's still.
getting various components from various types of vendors, so.
Well, and some is more cotton and sometimes it's
You said what?
Right, it gets, I'm gonna ask you about this after the meeting. I haven't had a chance to get through all my emails, I'm still struggling.
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with like the other work emails. Literally, we're like, we're gonna get there.
Cheryl wants to make an entrance tonight, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Last hurrah.
She does know we have a meeting tonight.
yeah, she's
That's just how she rolls. Like,
joking.
drop the mic when she resigns. I'm out of here, guys. Yes.
I was.
Oh yeah, I heard about that 64 US one. Yeah. That's
she needed to run home.
trying to let's see. Let's test it out. That's for you.
Thank you. What am I supposed to do with it?
Open it. Say how long she'll be. What? Did she say how long she'll be?
We win.
She just said that.
Trying to be creative here. If I'm gonna escalate things, I gotta come up with some
That's right.
brainstorm a little bit.
Good evening. How are you? Right. Two. Sure won't see what she. Oh, just stand up. Exactly. See how red she turns?
Should we also slow clap while we're doing that? Is that too much?
That might be a bit much.
Hey,
Dramatic.
let's threaten to kick her off the council effective next week. Yeah.
That's it.
Motion.
Oh my gosh.
Starting December 5th.
Motion to expel.
Oh my gosh.
Or censure, and censure. There we
Yeah.
go.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
How old are you?
Yes.
I turned 15.
All right, good.
Let's see.
Third
We could do this.
Third time.
Yeah, they took 2 out, 1, and then another 1 and 1, and now it's just 1 and 1. So,
I went in for one, and they took out everything.
yeah, they took everything. Yeah, no, I just grew back more. Sharks.
Apparently, when I
lawyers.
was in the anesthesia, I insisted on keeping the teeth. I don't remember this, but I was like, "Give me the tooth. I want to see it."
I remember there was a moment when I
What's that?
You wait.
I was just see how close she was.
kind of popped out of
I
the
think she's
anesthesia.
missed Orbinley to a
The
meeting yet.
dentist.
She hasn't,
This was
yeah.
at
She has not missed one.
Mountain Grove Medical Center at Andrews because this was.
Okay.
I had them all taken out as
Okay.
part of the Air Force. And he had his foot on this
making a bigger deal, yeah.
All right, cool. Good evening. Welcome. I will now call to order the regular scheduled Apex Town Council meeting for Tuesday, November 29, 2022, and thank those who have joined us by live stream. We'll move right now into the invocation, and faith continues to be a tradition that provides hope, love, and unity and goodwill for our community. We recognize diversity and inclusion in our efforts, understanding we may not all practice the same faith traditions. However, you are welcome to have a private moment of silence at this time. And while we do here in our invocation, we have prayer, we have reflection. We always look for ways to uplift and help everybody become unified in our community. So what I want to do tonight, this is a special moment as we're in the holiday season, a moment of being grateful and giving thanks to each other. Turn to your neighbor and say, "You're special. You're special." There you go, there you go, there you go.
Buddy.
Yeah. You're special.
Pretty special yourself. You're okay.
That's special.
All right, thank you. All right, y'all can calm down now. All right. All right, if you would, let's honor our nation tonight and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We'll now move to our consent agenda. All consent agenda items are considered routine and to be enacted by one motion with the adoption of the consent agenda and without discussion. If a council member requests discussion of an item, the item may be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. With that in mind, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, we move now to presentations. So we have two presentations tonight. And we have the honor of recognizing state champions from the best high school in Apex, south of NC 55.
There you go.
All right, so if I could have Raleigh Jennings and Julianne Izod to join me up front, along with Coach, we'll call him Coach Matt Clifton, Athletic Director for Apex Friendship High School. And then we also have Coach Rebecca Brogdon, if you would come up. All right, it's not often as the mayor that you get to recognize state champions in your town, and particularly for tennis. This is amazing. And I had the honor of having the family along with Riley and Julianne in my office earlier, and we just had a great conversation. And the one thing I learned from them is one of them likes cake and the other one likes ice cream. That's one thing. But we also talked about tennis versus pickleball. And I couldn't believe it. They're advocates of pickleball. They told me to start doing pickleball, so we're gonna do that. But what I wanna do tonight, present you a letter of honor for your amazing work in representing the peak of good living on your state championship, all right? So this is to both of you, Julianne and Raleigh. It is my honor and privilege to recognize you today on your recent achievement of winning the high school 4A tennis state championship. Leading up to this designation, you won conference and regional matches as well. This is doubles, right?
Yes.
Very good. And this is a big wow. Your dedication, perseverance, and positive demeanor has served you and your school well. It is not often that we're able to recognize rising athletes in our community who have reached the state championship title, specifically in tennis. You should feel extremely proud. As you know, tennis is as much a mental sport as it is physical. Your ability to display determination, grit, and excellence on both the court and in the classroom is truly commendable. You are paving the pathway for future athletes and making a significant impact in our community. In closing, I hope you always know how much you are supported here, and I'm proud of you calling Apex home. As you rise on your journey, I know you will bring unique energy, optimism, passion, and timeless creativity to each chapter. So thank you for representing the Peak so well. Best and now always, Jacques K. Gilbert, Mayor of Apex. So this is to you, Julianne. Okay, thank you. And also, I was able to get my own autographed ticket. It will be displayed proudly in my office. So another round of applause for these three. Actually, Julianne, I'm sorry, and Riley, come back up. You have another presentation. Laura Wegott, Executive Director of Western Wake Tennis. So she wants to make a presentation.
Well, their season started August 1st, and then they finished up the first weekend in November. So that does take a lot of dedication and grit, as the mayor mentioned. But their journey started way, way longer ago than this. I don't know exactly how old you were when you started playing tennis, but I bet you weren't that tall. You were about that tall. It just takes a lot of dedication and passion, and I understand you're good friends too, and I think that's wonderful for you. And I think your coach is pretty excited that you're juniors, so I think you might see them again next year. Anyway, so just a little something from Western Wake Tennis.
Thank you.
Make sure you look inside. We have a rich tennis history in this area, and you all are part of it, and congratulations on a great season, and we wish you the best in your future on and off the court. So thank you.
All right, good job. Thank you. All right, congratulations again. And thank you all family members for joining us tonight. All right, we'll now move to setting of the regular meeting agenda. All right, are there any additions or changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion approved?
Motion to approve Gant.
Second?
Second. Gray. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. We have a set meeting agenda. We now move to a public forum. It allows the public an opportunity to address town council. And this is your opportunity to present any ideas, recommendations, any things you want to see addressed in our town. You have 3 minutes to do it. And we'll open up the comments now. And we have 5 people here to speak tonight. So we'll start with Elizabeth Stitt. Stitt, if you could turn the mic back. I'm sorry, I had switched it around.
And us short people can't see the timer sometimes, so we have to slide it to the side there. Elizabeth Ray Stitt, 3113 Friendship Road. And I'm going to digress a moment. I didn't know about the state championship. I will tell you, living 31 years on Friendship Road, we do have pixie dust out where we live. And if you take friendship with you, no matter where you go, you will be successful in life. So it's been the core of who we are as a community, and I've tried to extend friendship with all of you as I've come and raised issues. So I do have 2 quick issues. Not sure if I'm going to get them done in the time. So in regards to the Big Branch Forest Main, the town received the 30% design plan from the engineer a couple weeks ago. Water Resources shared it out with our group. And we've got a meeting scheduled for this Friday at 1 o'clock. And I'm going to forward the meeting invite out to you guys. So we have additional concerns from the design plan, in addition to the original concerns. And so what our hope is that maybe one of you from the council will be able to take the time on Friday to sit in and listen to the concerns yourself instead of hearing them from me or getting them through a staff report. So that's the first update for the night. And then the second update, at the last council meeting, there were a couple of comments that the council made that my community thought was very applicable to our ask for the turning lanes. So when Councilmember Gray and Mahaffey were talking about the Kelly Road and Olive Chapel Road intersection, how that intersection works so much better with turn lanes, well, we agree. And when Councilmember Gant was talking about that sometimes we don't always get great in the beginning, but sometimes you need progress, we sit back and we say the same thing about our intersection. We need the turning lane so that it operates better. We don't expect perfect, and of course, some of the longer-term council members are aware that our road's not aligned, there's no plan for the bridge, there's no expectation of great. We just want some type of improvements. And while we're told, hey, just wait and wait and wait, well, we don't want to wait for great. Even if all we can get is one turning lane, anything would be helpful to relieve the congestion that's come through all the development that has been approved. So I hope that you take that into consideration, and I hope we get to see one of you guys on the Zoom meeting on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stett. Lazlo Abel. Abel?
Gonna pull up the notes real quick. So, good evening, everybody. I'm Lazuli Abel. I'm new in Apex. This is the first time I've ever had chosen to come and speak to the folks who are in charge of where I live, so my heart is pounding. But I come out of just an area of passion and desire to see Apex become somewhere that's safe and ideal for the people that I live, for the kind of people that I live with. So we recently moved into the Westford community up just north of 64 at the intersection of Jenks and Kelly Road. And the unit is great. It's definitely better than our previous unit where we heard gunshots outside. Not very pleasant, but it's still, despite all of the benefits that we have now with with boosting our mental health, getting better, getting in better jobs, it still is not really at all a place that the folks that I live with can, be independent and enjoy themselves, because Apex is sort of in the entirety of Apex, in terms of what I've been hearing by city planners and at other advisory board meetings, is that Apex is designed in a way where us three have to spend like nearly $700 to $800 a month on private vehicle maintenance, whether it be loans, insurance, gas, or anything like that. And one of the people I live with, Ray, works less than 3 miles away, which should be a fine enough bike ride or walk or something, but that is not at all an option. So now we have to take care of this private vehicle. And another person I live with, Mary, has a completely open schedule and absolutely wants to work and have a job, but because she is, due to health reasons, she cannot own and drive a vehicle. So she's just stuck inside all day. And it just makes me think that as much as Apex wants to be a space where families are at the forefront and a small town character is present throughout, based on the terms I read in the downtown plan and the bike and transit plans, how did it end up becoming a town where kids must stay inside, a place where lesser abled folks can't live a safe life, and somewhere that a government led by people that encourage this through suburban sprawl, massive parking lots, and abandoning the citizens in favor of expensive, dangerous private automobiles? And that's the end of my statement.
Thank you, Ms. Abel. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next is Ashley Solis. Sure, come on up. You just have one person speaking for your group?
Yeah.
Correct, okay.
We're just supporting the cause for education.
Oh, sounds good. 3 minutes, sir.
Hello, I'm Ashley Solis. I have never once played tennis before we started. What I am passing out and reminding everyone about is our neighborhood of Sweetwater, the dangerous intersection. I have provided you with a couple things we're asking for. I've also provided photos if you want to take a look at those. The first photo is the crosswalk on Richardson Road in the Sweetwater subdivision. That was taken yesterday at 7:02 p.m. As you can see, where's the crosswalk? If you refer to the second picture, you can see I've circled where the crosswalk should be, but I would ask you to consider whether you'd feel comfortable crossing that at night. Photo number 3 is the intersection of Hassey and Richardson with my husband and dog in the forefront. Again, 7:02, 7:03 p.m. You can't see my dog. If you go to the photo number 4, you will see my dog sitting there. He is jet black and wearing a reflective vest, but the lighting is so poor at that intersection at night that you can't see anything. It's dangerous. Would you allow, I won't let my kids who are teenagers cross that road once the sun goes down, and frankly, I'm uncomfortable during the day. We are requesting a couple things. One thing that will cost the city no money is to pass a town ordinance that every dog park built from now on has a 2-gate security system. That would have stopped the ones in our neighborhood from getting out and getting hit. We also are asking that, we approached the builder and said, would you put in a second gate so it'd be safe? And Lennar said, we don't have to because the city of Apex doesn't have it as an ordinance. So we really don't think we're gonna get anywhere with the builders if it's not on the books, as they would say. The mayor was gracious enough to come out and tour during the day, kind of get an idea of what the problem is, the safety concerns. I'd be happy to take any one of you at any time. My schedule's completely open for that. We're again still asking you to lower the speed limits. We are requesting that you make this a higher priority during budget meetings that start in January. This is a extremely dangerous intersection, and the longer this goes and the more likely someone's gonna be either killed, hit, something, the liability for the city just gets worse and worse the longer this goes on and the more of a problem this is. I would also remind everyone that we had over 1,000 concerned citizens sign our petitions, and we are just looking for some additional signage and some additional safety.
Thank you, Ms. Solis, so much. All right, I have listed here Veronica and Randy. Are you taking 3 minutes as well?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi.
My name is George.
Hello, everyone. You all remember Austin, the tragedy that happened with him, that he passed away September 6th. And good news, I just want to share to you all that we have Gaston, which is Austin's brother, from a different litter, same parents. So we have a little bit of happiness. Austin back.
Very good.
On November 21st, 7 dogs got out from the dog park and they crossed the street on Richardson Road. I was walking Gaston when I saw this happen. Immediately, it was very terrifying to see this. There was a vehicle driving about, there was a lot of vehicles coming, but one of them that was near the dogs, when they crossed Richardson Road, they got out of the dog park because the door wasn't closed, didn't close well. There was somebody that was driving probably about 30 miles an hour, and he was paying attention and pressed the brakes. Thankfully, he was a few inches from hitting the dogs. 4 dogs in front of the 7 dogs escaped, but 4 of them would have gotten hit. And I assume that's probably the speed where they could still avoid an accident if they're paying attention, 30 some miles an hour. So I just, again, ask if you could help us resolve this matter in a way possible to help prevent another tragedy and, you know, from a pet, but worse, a child or one of us to get, you know, we don't want that to happen again. So, yeah, I just want to thank you all. And
Before you leave, can you give your name and address?
Veronica, I'm sorry, Veronica Pacheco, 1316 Brown Velvet Lane at Sweetwater.
Thanks for
Yes,
coming out to speak.
thank
tonight.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Randy.
Good evening, Randy Gupka, 1180 Little Gem Lane, Apex, NC. I had called, Alan, I'm not sure if Alan's here. Oh, hey, Alan, nice to see you. I actually presented, or wanted to present this evening, a less than 3-minute video. I love my GoPro, so I thought it would be best to give you a visual and a deeper perspective of what we're dealing with in the subdivision of Sweetwater and Smith Farm that is south of 64 and north of Olive Chapel Road. So based on the fact that I produced the video, it's ready, I was gonna speak in front of it as it was moving, but I understand I cannot do that here. So it came from the recommendation of Alan that I'm gonna do a voiceover of every section that will demonstrate and visually give you the stronger perspective of what we're dealing with in the community. So having said that, I should have that ready by the end of this week, and I'll forward it to Alan, and hopefully you all have a chance to review it. But please know we do appreciate your consideration and support for our matter to, as Ashley mentioned, more lights, lower the speed limit, more signage, et cetera, so we have a safer community. And we failed to mention that about 3 weeks ago, a senior citizen was almost struck in the same intersection of Richardson and Haas. And actually, she's Veronica's neighbor. Debbie. Debbie. So thank you so much again for your consideration. Look forward to that video and have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you to everyone who came out to speak tonight. It's important that we listen and gather information. We appreciate it. All right, that closes the public forum for comment. We move now to public hearings. And we'll start with public hearing number 1, annexation number 742, 3075 Lufkin Road.
All right, good evening. This property is located in the far eastern portion of our jurisdiction on Lufkin Road. This is a remnant piece that has previously been approved for a self-service storage facility. And so they are requesting annexation so that they can get approval for their construction plans in order to get public services. Staff does recommend approval of the annexation.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Hearing none. All right, we'll open up public hearing for this item. No one has signed up to speak, comment, so we'll close it, and it's back to council for possible motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, motion approved, Mayor Pro Tem.
Second?
Second, great. Discussion. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed unanimously. We'll move now to public hearing 2, rezoning case number 21CZ18 Olive Chapel Professional Park.
All right, good evening. This rezoning is located on the north side of Olive Chapel Road, west of Chapel Ridge Road, and is the property known as the Olive Chapel Professional Park. As you can see, there's 3 of the 5 buildings constructed, 5 buildings that have been approved for the development that have been constructed. The property is zoned office and institutional conditional zoning, and the proposal is to amend the list of permitted uses within that zoning classification. The zoning district is consistent with the 2045 land use map, which designates the property as office employment. The applicant conducted a neighborhood meeting on July 29th, 2021, and due to a change in the proposed uses and conditions, additional meetings were held on August 31st and October 19th of this year, and you have those meeting reports in your packet. The applicant is proposing to add 2 uses to the list of currently permitted uses, and those are pet services and tailor shop. When the property was rezoned initially in 2016, these uses were not permitted in the O&I zoning district, so they were not available for the applicant to request. They were added to the O&I district, I believe, in 2019, and so the applicant now wishes to add these uses to the permitted zoning. No other zoning districts are, zoning conditions are proposed to be amended with this rezoning. This rezoning was exempt from review by the Environmental Advisory Board. The Planning Board held their public hearing on November 14th and unanimously voted to recommend approval with the conditions as offered by the applicant. Planning staff also recommends approval. Approval of the rezoning is reasonable because the district is consistent with the land use classification, and the rezoning is reasonable and in the public interest because it will provide an opportunity for additional non-residential uses to serve the surrounding areas. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, questions?
Ms. Bunce, can you describe a little bit the history of the 2019 change to the land use tables? And, like, what initiated that change back then?
To the UDO to add those 2 uses? That's a good question. I can't be certain off the top of my head, except that I believe at the time we were analyzing some other uses and then took a look at our use table, recognizing that, tailor shop and pet services are service-oriented type uses, not strictly retail type uses, and we believe they would be appropriate in the office and institutional district, be compatible in an office area.
Okay. Was that at the same time we did the downtown first floor changes?
It's possible. I'd have to go back through the history to remember.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, here now. Thank you so much. Applicant wish to speak?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the Town Council. My name is Patrick Kiernan with Jones & Knosson Engineering, located at 221 North Salem Street. I'm here representing the owners of Olive Chapel Professional Park for this rezoning case. Thanks to Amanda and the rest of the planning department for their help through this rezoning review. Just to quickly summarize Amanda's presentation, we are simply petitioning to have 2 uses added to our list of allowable uses, pet services and tailor shop. Like Amanda said, in the original 2016 rezoning, the UDO did not allow for these uses within the O&I zoning district, which is why they were not available to be included in the 2016 rezoning. In January of 2019, a UDO amendment was passed to revise the Town of Apex use table in order to allow these uses within the O&I zoning district. However, Olive Chapel Professional Park was conditionally zoned as O&I CZ. A separate rezoning petition is needed to add these 2 uses for this project specifically. I do have the wording from the staff report in 2019, if that helps. I can't really put it any better, so just to quote it, it said the amendments to UDO sections 4.2.2 use table add pet services and tailor shop as permitted uses within the O&I zoning district, as they have a land use intensity comparable to office uses and are similar to other uses already permitted in the O&I zoning district. A little bit broad, but gives you a little bit of an idea. I don't need to hammer that out anymore. The only other point I'd like to make is at planning board and during the neighborhood meetings, the pet crematory service was brought into discussion. And I discussed with one of the neighbors. My understanding is that there was no real concern over that service. She more found it odd to be included within pet services amongst other services such as grooming, training, daycare, etc., which I didn't disagree with. However, at planning board, it was brought to my attention by town staff that the pet crematory service is actually already allowed within the veterinary clinic use, which is already one of the allowable uses within the business park. So our preference at this point in time is to not muddy up the waters and not include a condition that works for pet services that doesn't work for a veterinary clinic, since there's overlap. Like Amanda said, we held the original neighborhood meeting was last year, although we don't really consider that as part of this rezoning since the original purpose of that petition was pulled. We had a meeting in, at the end of August and then another one in October. The first one was with the list of residents within 300 feet of the property. And then after discussing with some of the neighbors, we felt it prudent to have an additional meeting with the whole Chapel Ridge neighborhood, since obviously this park has affected all of their properties within there, regardless of vicinity to the project. So that was the reason for all the meetings that we held. But other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, thank you so much for that. Any questions? All right, here none. Thank you so much. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and open up public hearing for this item, and we have one person signed up to speak tonight, Ms. Rita Borkin.
Good evening. My name is Rita Boykin. Ray and I live at 1500 Clark Farm Road. You will be voting tonight on a rezoning request concerning the office park. How ironic that we pretty much end up where it all began. Had it not been for offices being built where houses would have been a logical and better fit, we would not be where we are this evening. I have no objection to the two proposed businesses being presented to you this evening. However, I do object to the use of a crematorium, as previously mentioned in my email. I hope you will consider removing that item from this request. Most of the area vets, including the one located in their office park, use a pet crematorium facility, Agape Pet Services, in Siler City. Therefore, the crematorium use is not needed. The matter before you this evening is of little to no consequence to us. The damage to our neighborhood has already been done, primarily because of the votes by two different town councils. 2 times the town council voted against the recommendation of the planning board regarding the Chapel Ridge neighborhood in 2016 and again just last month. In 2016, the planning department and the planning board unanimously recommended not to approve the office park proposal. The 2016 town council then voted 3-2 in favor of offices. Our neighborhood's fate was sealed that night in large part because of a self-serving town council member. Your vote last month finalized the devastation to our neighborhood. Those of us who remain in Chapel Ridge will continue to live with the consequences created by Apex, individuals closely associated with Chapel Ridge, and our neighbors who chose to sell out to developers. Consequences that are a result of their decisions, greed, or both. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Borkin. All right, that closes the public hearing for comment. It's back to council for discussion.
Motion approved?
We got a motion and second.
Actually, I do have one question. Sure. So it seems the reason we're here is some uses got added to a zoning district, and it doesn't automatically apply to the conditional zoning districts that are based on that district. Is there a way or a method to make it apply? Does anyone know? Or is it without doing a rezoning of every conditional zoning district that's based on ONI?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think the zoning, because it's conditional zoning, that sticks with the thing, and so.
Today, but is there a change we can make either when doing conditional zonings to like automatically include the base
They
zoning
can
district by
do
reference?
non-conditional zoning if they want.
Well, here's the thing, is they really can't.
Well, it's an option.
Not really.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
So the fact that we're pushing developers down this conditional zoning path always means that they have to come before us, pay $500, have all these meetings to get what is really almost like a technical correction to their zoning.
There's no way to avoid that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Not with a conditional zoning district.
All right. That answers my question then.
Thank you, Councilman. Further discussion on it? All right, we have a motion and a second. Take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, we are in the public hearing, but we have our amazing Councilwoman Stallings who has just joined us. And we appreciate it. I know you're in some traffic. We appreciate that. And you have a stellar record here. You've never missed a council meeting.
And I wasn't going to start tonight. But I do apologize, everyone. Goodness, there was, I think, a significant car accident, I think. So
Yes.
I don't know what the status of the people in the accident are, so it was, I think, significant, so. But
We're glad-
sorry.
we're
Thank
glad
you for
you're here.
waiting, and I apologize.
Well, it's a bittersweet moment for Town Council and Town of Apex. I've really enjoyed working with you, and congratulate you on your win election, Wake County Board of Commissioners. So you're not really going far,
That's right.
and we're going to be well represented. Okay, so tonight what we want to do is honor you. And what I want to do before I make a presentation is allow each council member to say a few words about you. But I'll start out by saying I really appreciate working with you. We've been through a lot together in a short period of time. We came on at the same time. And one of the things I do respect about you is you always want to hear from people. You're like, I want to hear from the residents, and that's very important that we do that. So I just want to say thank you for all your work here for the town of Apex. Mayor Pro Tem.
So Cheryl, we've worked together for several years now, and you know, it is definitely, we're gonna miss you quite a bit. We know where your heart is, and that shows a lot in all of your questions, all of your concerns, and your priorities. And I know that you'll, like the mayor said, represent us well at the county level, and you know, we'll see you around. But you know, I'll definitely miss you at the council meetings. So.
Councilman Gant.
So it's been an honor serving with Cheryl and kind of having the left flank here covered really well, so that's appreciated. I'm really excited about you bringing some of your priorities that you've had on this council to the county commissioners, and I think your perspective that you've had while on this town council will serve you well there, because I think better understanding the municipal issues we have in Wake County, I think you'll you'll provide that viewpoint that maybe is lacking a little bit sometimes on the Wake County Commission. So I'm excited about that, excited about your work on affordable housing that I think you're gonna do a great job on. You mentioned, I think in the campaign, transit's a big issue for you. I'm really excited about that. That work is super important. Both those are super important. And so I think there are bright days ahead for us in Wake County, and I think we're honored to have you and Commissioner Evans from Apex. I know it's at large, but I know you have our backs on that council, and good luck.
All right. Councilman Mahaffey.
All right, Cheryl, my running mate. This is a bittersweet moment seeing you go. I mean, I just want to, second, I guess, everything Brett just said about having a municipal official at other levels of government, because sometimes I hear other bodies talk about stuff, and not only the county commission, but the General Assembly and elsewhere, they don't really get what we're experiencing at the local level, what our challenges are, what we need, and that voice is missing a lot. A little shout out to Representative Adcock. Was on the Cary Town Council. I really appreciate her leadership kind of in this dimension at the General Assembly, and having someone like you on the county commission really going to serve us well, going to serve all towns well. And I also want to add, you've been a great champion for public schools. We've been able to get a lot done, I think, make a lot of changes in how development's done, and advocated for a lot of points that really weren't done before. And I'm going to miss that when you're gone, But I really am looking forward to having that voice on the county commission as well, because it's another place where that point of view is really needed. So thank you for all your work, and I look forward to seeing what you're going to do on the county commission.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Gray.
Well, I'm going to start off by saying that, as we were talking about you, there were a number of things that were mentioned. Your heart, we know where your heart is, and it's clear that your heart is with the people of Apex, and we really appreciate that. Councilmember Gant and Mahaffey talked about the voice that you're going to be able to lead with at the commissioner level, but the voice that you had here. I think it's important that we talk about one of your other key attributes as opposed to your heart and your voice, but also your ears. because you were a person who listened. And that's a critical trait up here, because that listening leads to compassion, that compassion leads to better decisions. And the thing that I can say without any hesitation is that while you were here, you made a difference because you cared. And when you move up, you're going to continue to make a difference because that's within your heart and you continue to care. So I know from all of us up here, we're truly going to miss having you here to help ask some of the tough questions, ask developers, can they address this concern, and listen. But I know that you're going to continue to represent all of us and the other constituents within this great county in your next step. So we're just we'll be pining here and we'll cry, but we'll be looking up at you with a lot of pride. Thanks for all you did.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, Ms. Crosby, do you have anything, any words?
Thank you. Well, we'll definitely,
Can you see her?
I would just say, on behalf of the staff and the executive leadership team, we'll definitely miss you. I appreciate your support. You've always been very supportive, very thoughtful. One of the things that stood out when I first got here is whenever a constituent had a question, you always made sure you asked the question and did your due diligence to be able to respond appropriately. And so I really appreciated that. And then the second thing is your sense of humor, which folks may not always get to see, but I was fortunate to be able to experience that. So we are going to miss you. I have shared with my colleague at the county that they were getting a really good person, and I'm very jealous, but I think your background and your passion for mental health will definitely be an added contribution. So we'll miss you for sure, but we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Crosby.
Yeah.
And then our town clerk, Alan Coleman.
I'll just echo what everyone else has said. I think that, I've not been here that long, but I've certainly I felt your warmth, your presence, again, just your sense of humor, your support. I think all of those things that not only your colleagues have mentioned, but from a staff perspective, I really can say I appreciate that and value that so much because you don't always get that. And so, you just provide that warmth and that kindness that's unparalleled against anyone else. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, we all know up here, this elected assignment comes with, it's just not one person, it comes with a family. And so I do want to recognize Rick, who's here tonight. And of course, your son Charles is not here. But thank you so much, sir, for all you have done to support us and what we do here. So what I want to do right now is, on behalf of the residents, presented by the residents of the town of Apex, with grateful appreciation to Cheryl Stallings for her devotion and commitment as a town council member to the town of Apex from December 2019 to December 2022. So if you would join me, I want to present you this on behalf of the town of Apex. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you. If you would join us for standing ovation.
Get her husband with her.
We'll go, you want to go out front? Let's go out front. Yeah, let's go out front.
They're gonna come out.
Do that real quick.
We'll come meet, I'll come meet.
Y'all come on out, yeah.
So this is my husband, Mark, everyone. He's an introvert, so you don't see him very much. He's a strong supporter behind the scenes.
It was 3 years ago, almost tonight, that I was here the last time.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hold tight for me.
One more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Still got work to do.
That's right. Back to work.
All right, public hearing number 4, rezoning case 22 CZ18 Hume Olive Place.
Do we need to officially do the 3 and move it, or is that automatic?
You need to
What's
vote to continue.
Did we, hold on, did I skip one?
Public hearing 3.
That's right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, so let's move back to one page here.
What was the date?
January 24th.
January something? I move we continue public hearing number 3 to January 24th?
2023.
Okay, 2023. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we got a motion, Councilwoman Haffey, second by Mayor Pro Tem. Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously. Thank you for that. Councilman Gant. All right, public hearing 4, rezoning case 22 ZZ18 Hume Olive Place.
All right, good evening again. This rezoning is located at the northeast corner of Hume Olive Road and Blazing Trail Drive. It's about 2 acres in size and is currently zoned medium-density conditional zoning, and the request is to the same district but to modify the zoning conditions. The requested zoning is consistent with the 2045 land use map that designates this area as medium-density residential. The current zoning was approved by Town Council in November of 2018, and the subdivision plan was approved in April of 2019 for lots containing duplexes. The subdivision is still under construction. Since that time, there's been a new stream buffer evaluation on the for a stream that was portion on the eastern part of the property that now indicates the intermittent stream on the eastern side has dried up, and because of that, the applicant wishes to amend their project to add 4 more units to the subdivision. The applicant conducted a neighborhood meeting on August 31st, and you have that meeting report. Wake County Public Schools did provide a letter of impact since there was an increase in the number of units, and they indicated that elementary, middle, and high schools within the current assignment area are anticipated to have insufficient capacity. School expansion or construction within the next 5 years may address concerns at the high school level. The proposed change to the zoning conditions, like I mentioned before, is to increase the number of, to increase the density to allow 4 more units or 2 additional duplex structures to be constructed. And in addition, the applicant is proposing the following new conditions. 1 new duplex building shall provide active PV solar for a total of 2 systems. The project shall install at least 1 pet waste station in a location that is publicly accessible, such as a side path, sidewalk, or SCM, stormwater control measure. And number 3, all RCA landscape plantings shall be native species. Landscaping shall be coordinated and approved by the planning department at site or subdivision plan review. Housing staff did meet with the applicant and determined that providing on-site affordable housing units was not financially feasible based on the economics of their financial pro forma in this proposed development. So none was recommended. The Environmental Advisory Board held a pre-application meeting for this rezoning in July, and the zoning conditions, the applicant did address 3 of the 5 requested conditions from the Environmental Advisory Board. The one that was not, 2 that were not added, well, there were 2 solar conditions added. There was a miscommunication, I believe, at the meeting. So the applicant did add 1 of the 2 solar conditions suggested. And the other condition not added was informational signing marking RCA at the boundary. The Planning Board held a public hearing on November 14th, and by a vote of 6-2, recommended approval of the rezoning with the conditions proposed by the applicant. The dissenting votes were because those members did not believe there was enough data to merit dismissing the existing stream and worried that additional site work and time would cause it to return and negatively impact the homes built near it. Planning staff is recommending approval of the rezoning. Approval is reasonable because the proposed zoning district is consistent with the land use map, and the rezoning is in the public interest. It's reasonable and in the public interest because in addition to single-family dwellings, it allows for duplexes while maintaining the character of the adjacent neighborhoods. Duplexes provide opportunities for people to rent in an area where they otherwise may not be able to afford to live. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I had a couple of responses. One was related to RCA and just a confirmation that I believe we changed the RCA rules since the first time this was rezoned, and I just want to confirm that the RCA was not hard-coded, the percentage was not hard-coded in the older rezoning, and that they would have to abide by the current UDO for the RCA percentages.
The current UDO standard would apply since they are revising their master subdivision plan.
Okay. And the second one was about, can you explain we heard in some of the correspondence about the stormwater, and maybe this was talked about the planning board, I didn't watch that meeting, but it was saying that stormwater's control measures were not required because it was exempt before, and now it is not going to be. Is that, I didn't quite understand why that was.
I believe it was based on the amount of disturbed area. If you're under an acre of disturbed area, then you don't have to provide a stormwater control measure. Once you exceed that, then you do. The engineer for the applicant is here and can probably answer those questions better for you.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Ms. Bunce?
Well, I had a question about the stream bed, and I don't know if it's best for you to answer that or the applicant, but I don't remember the Environmental Advisory Board addressing that or being concerned about that. Does anyone remember?
There was not a recommendation, a zoning condition regarding that, and I don't believe I attended that meeting, and I don't have the minutes handy, so I can't speak to that.
I'm the liaison, but I don't remember that meeting, so I don't know if you were there. I'm embarrassed to say.
I don't think I was.
I don't remember this issue coming up. Okay. I didn't know if you had any more comments on that. So it sounds like you don't. Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Thank you. Applicant, come up, please.
Mayor Gilbert, members of the council, Peter Knosson with Jones Knosson Engineering, 221 North Salem Street. We are the consultant engineering firm for Construction Masters, who is the owner developer for the Hume Olive Place subdivision. Related to the stream buffer, that's really the reason why we're here. Now that that's been removed, it opens up the site for more development. But stream buffers, they're good on the calls for 5 years. The original call was made back in 2017. So this year in June, I believe it was, we had our environmental consultant as well as the town of Apex, the stormwater folks that come out and review these geologic features and drainage features to see if buffers still remain. And it was decided that this particular feature, which was marginal on the original call, no longer required a buffer. It just didn't exhibit the characteristics to be a buffered stream. So it's been removed. One of the things that came up in the planning board was concern about this stream flooding. But I do want to just clarify that, hopefully it'll show up on here. This is really, the ditch really runs right along this area. And it is basically fed by runoff from off-site as well as within Blazing Trail. There are catch basins within Blazing Trail that catch the stormwater runoff from the street, and it discharges to this feature. So it's just really a wet weather ditch. And we, as part of this development, if we are approved, we'll have to convey that water either through, again, a constructed ditch, or we'll pipe it through. One thing and first of all, I got to thank Amanda for her pinch hitting for Shelley. Shelley's not feeling well, and she was the original planner, so thank you for your presentation. But the one thing that we are going to be adding is stormwater. It was exempt at the time the original subdivision went through the process, and it is true that the town code considers stormwater exempt when you're disturbed less than 1 acre. Now that if we are approved, we'll be disturbing more than 1 acre, so we will have to put in stormwater controls with any new development. And that stormwater needs to consider the entire site, all the impervious on the site, just not what's added. So that's a significant add. And the other add, as we said, we're going to do active solar on one of the units. And we're hopeful, just want to say that we're hopeful that we might be able to add 2 units. I'm not convinced that we'll be able to. I know we'll be able to add 1, but when you consider We're going to have to put in stormwater controls and meet the RCA requirements. I don't know if we're going to have that much area for two. Hopefully we will, but I have not gone through that land plan to verify or confirm how many more units we can add. The only other thing that I want to add is that we were asked to consider a sidewalk connection. Currently, at the end of our site to the north, our current plan shows the sidewalk to end, and there's a gap, basically, that we've been asked to consider making that connection. We are not opposed to making that connection, but I do just want to know that there's one caveat, and that is that the sidewalk will encroach on private property. So in order to make that connection, we will need authorization and approval of a public access easement from the HOA, which is the Towns at Bella Costa Association, their HOA. So I have drafted a zoning condition that we would like to add to this request, and it reads as follows. The developer shall extend the 5-foot sidewalk along the site north along Blazing Trail Drive to complete the connection to the existing 5-foot sidewalk at the Parkside at Bella Casa Phase 13A common area to the north. The sidewalk connection is subject to approval and recording of a public access easement on HOA common area by the Towns at Bella Casa Association, Inc. So I haven't signed it, but I will, and then I will hand that off to Amanda. So hopefully, I'm here to answer any questions. I believe with the zoning conditions that we're adding, making this sidewalk connection, adding stormwater to this hopeful approval. Hopefully those are some pretty significant adds to allow your approval of this request. So I'm here to answer any other questions you may have.
All right, any questions?
Just so, do you think the stormwater additions would take care of the concerns that the two planning board members raised about the existing stream?
Oh, I do. I mean, as I said, they're right now, currently, the water discharges into that existing ditch. So we'll have to make sure there's a conveyance, whether it's natural or piped, through the subdivision.
I had three questions.
Sure.
One was about the status of the 44-inch oak and whether, I couldn't tell from the aerial, if it looked a little not great, and I was wondering, if it is an okay tree, is there going to be an effort to try to at least save that tree as part of this new rezoning? And so how about you answer each one of them? And so the first one's about the oak, the large tree there.
Frankly, I'll have to look and see where that oak is.
I can tell you it's right beside the, if you extend the cul-de-sac to the west, it's right north of that, like right there. Yeah, that's it.
That's it right
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
I can certainly try to save it. I can tell you that where basically that's in the low point of the site, and that's where we would locate a stormwater device.
Okay.
Whether it be a wet pond or bioretention, I'm not sure what will be used yet.
Okay, so unlikely. Okay. It looked like it was dying from the aerial, or the Google Maps I was looking at. I didn't get a chance to go by it. Maybe, is it dying?
Yeah, it died, actually.
Okay.
Last door, it fall, and we had
Oh.
a whole crew to take it, because it died, it fall, and the last
Oh.
hurricane that we got.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, thank you. The second one was about your consideration on the solar conduit in the remaining buildings. I noticed in the EAB there was an ask about active solar and there was an ask about conduit, and it looks like you've addressed the active solar one on at least one of the units, but I didn't see anything about conduit on the others. And I mentioned that because I don't believe I've approved a single dwelling unit without conduit since I've been here, and so I want to know if you guys saw that request and saw both parts of it as equally important potentially.
Okay. Do you have a problem with that?
Can I extend?
No, actually, you can't. Just let me know if you agree to it, that's all.
So the question again, the conduit for
The remaining buildings that,
that already permitted and already, like those are already, I know that
Are they built yet?
No, we already ordered the materials.
Get his name and address for the.
They didn't really commence the construction yet.
Oh,
So for the new, like, if we were able to add another unit, we know for a fact we're gonna be able to add the unit. If we're able to do another unit, we're willing to do conduit for the other unit.
okay.
But the existing ones already.
I didn't know how far along they
planned,
were.
Ordered the stuff, that was the old, like, 2018 zoning, so.
And-
They didn't have that in the time.
Right. I think it was before 2018, actually, but is the conduit and the ability to put that in, is that related to the permitting, and like, would it be a challenge, Ms. Bunce, that you know of?
Do you have building permits already for
Yeah.
some of those, for the
Yeah,
remaining?
we already have the designs, we submitted for the permit, we ordered the materials, we were already going by the old plan.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I feel like I'm in the way.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so since you're in part of the conversation, can you give us your name and address for the record, please?
Mohammed El Fadali, 508 Stone Creek Drive, Apex, North Carolina.
Thank you.
You got that, Mr. Clerk?
And then the third question, so we had a similar condition in the nearby development that was unsuccessful in getting a sidewalk connected to the north. It would have been great to have it, if this passes, that connection would be even better, but whatever. Can you describe, because I believe you were the person in charge of that previous rezoning when we had that other condition. Can you describe the nature of how the outreach and like, the zoning condition says you'll do outreach, but I don't know what that actually means. And like, I'd like the HOA to go along with this one. I think it helps the neighborhood, the residents that already are there, to have that connection made. So can you describe like how you went along with the alerting the HOA, and like when they said no that first time, like how that happened real quick, just so I know?
Oh, sure. I contacted the HOA president, actually met her on site, and I talked about the location of where we would extend the sidewalk basically to the north side of their property, and just asking that we wanted to try to make a connection from the end of Lake Waccamaw to their site. She said that she was not in favor of it, but that she would bring it to the residents and the members, obviously, of their HOA. And she just emailed me or called, I can't recall, but said that they weren't interested.
Okay, and there'll be probably a similar outreach like that this time as well?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
It makes it seems less objectionable, so I'm hopeful. If they're listening, please go along with this, because it'll make your walkability much safer and better.
Practically speaking, like, don't 2/3 of the members of the HOA, the owners of the townhouses, have to sign off on something like this, which releases an easement to someone?
I think each HOA is probably a little bit different.
Depends on what their covenants provide for.
They're not great. They don't speak at all actually about stuff like this. This is my neighborhood.
Well,
Actually, you know what? That's not true. I don't live in the towns. I live in the master HOA. So maybe they have different ones.
I suspect it was more of a privacy concern with the previous one. That's what the objection was about, and this one is on the road, so there's.
I think what happens is like if the neighborhood's against a rezoning, and then they argue against it, and then afterwards you come to them and say, hey, oh, by the way, can we have a sidewalk easement? At that point, they're not interested in engaging. Is usually how these things go.
Yeah, I mean, they may be against.
But I worry just from a practical level, if they need to get 2/3 of their homeowners to sign off on it, that's really not feasible in something like this, which is like a renter community where a lot of the actual owners aren't on site, they're not around. It's really hard to get these.
Well, all you can do is, I think, the effort you're described, and I mean, in this case, they can have a crossing across Blakeson Trails north of the roundabout, and then they're already on the school side, and they could just, without any more crossings, they can get to the school. And like, otherwise, they're crossing at the intersection of Femi Olive, which is busy, or two roads. So it's like better. It's like
But that's
safer.
a different HOA. So the park side at Bella Casa label there, those are the towns at Bella Casa HOA. The ones to the north, oh, those guys too?
Those are the towns.
Oh, those 5 people. Okay, I thought it was the.
Well, this is all part of it here.
It's all part of it, right.
Yes.
So, but if you're scrolling, you're talking about the people to the north.
Yes.
We can't scroll on the map. But the people to the north is not part of that HOA. That's the master HOA. Those are single-family homes. So those are the ones that'll benefit. These are the town community here is the one that's between.
I would argue the people in the western part will also benefit, because they'll be able to cross one time and they'll be able to get to this high school.
Yeah, you're not
Instead of-
wrong. I think there's a crosswalk there maybe too, if I remember.
There are
correctly.
crosswalks, but you're crossing two roads, Mason Borough and then Blazing Trails, if you don't have that
Yeah.
connection.
Can you read the wording exactly of the condition again?
Sure. It says, "The developer shall extend the 5-foot sidewalk along the site frontage north along Blazing Trail Drive to complete the connection to the existing 5-foot sidewalk at the Parkside at Bellicasa, Phase 13A, common area to the north. This sidewalk connection is subject to approval and recording of a public access easement on HOA common area by the Towns at Bellicasa Association, Inc."
Approval of the easement by the Towns of Bellicasa.
Yes. In short, we can't make the connection without their approval, as well as to sign a recorded easement.
It's to their benefit to do it this time, especially this time. I don't know they will, but
All right.
I have a comment. Would you, I know Raleigh one time had something like this. We can deposit the money to the town, like, so whenever someone gets their proper approval, the money is there. We're guaranteeing that we're paying for it. I'm not sure if Apex have similar things we call like surety bond or something over there. I'm not sure if that's possible.
I think we have had zonings like that.
We've done that
If,
before.
if a bribe will work.
No, I mean, this is a really, really small one, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I would, that's why I didn't think it would need the money. It'll cost money to build it, but like, it's like 15 feet. Yeah,
You good?
yeah.
Just one question with regard to the, and I know this was a pretty good conversation point at planning board, but what assurances do we have that the stream is, that the stream is gone?
Well, I've gotten a letter basically from the town of Apex, from the stormwater engineer, saying that the buffer does not exist anymore on the stream. And that's been provided through the town.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
And I'll add, I'm actually not concerned about the stream buffer, right? Like, we had an engineer, a professional, came down and looked at this, said it's not there anymore. And I think as a town, we kind of have to honor that. Like, there's a lot of discussion about it. As, kind of a layman, I sort of, I have concerns as well. But if we start questioning what the engineer is saying on these buffer calls, I think that sends the wrong message to our property owners and to the development community for us to say, well, you got this clean buffer call, but you know what, we're really not sure, so we're gonna make you do this. I don't like that. I like it's clean, the experts say it's not there. And I'll add, I looked at the topo map, the stream that they're talking about goes across and is underneath the rest of Parkside too. And when that was built, clearly they had a buffer call and they said it wasn't there. So I don't know why in 2016 it was there and it's not. It's the way the topography drains into, I think maybe there's a pond over to the east there. And you build a bunch of stuff, you build a bunch of roads, you have drains on the roads, it changes how the water drains. It makes sense that it wouldn't be there once Parkside gets built out there. But in principle, I'm uncomfortable saying, well, the engineer said this, but now we're not sure. So.
And I would just say I'd appreciate your comments. I just wanted on the record to ask the question and get the answer, so.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
No questions, just a comment. I'm a lot more comfortable with the stormwater control measure here too, being added to this, so I'm kind of glad this is happening.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much. All right, we'll go now to open up the public hearing for comment, and we have no one signed up to speak, so it's back to council for discussion, leading to a possible motion.
So I'll just chime in on what Councilmember Mahaffey had said. I think, there was a lot of conversation about, whether or not the stream is coming back and things of that nature. And I think it's a legitimate concern. People are concerned like, hey, we built a bunch of houses there and next thing you know, we've got some flooding there. But, I think in this case, a lot of steps have been made to kind of help allay that concern. One, the initial identification was it was marginal. I mean, back then. And then we've since gone back, looked at it again, done another professional evaluation. I think that's there. And then I feel like the additional stormwater controls will ultimately help that issue. So, I know that it's difficult for anybody to protect what Mother Nature is doing, but I think there has been a number of steps here that, in my eyes, help allay a lot of my concerns with regard to we're building a bunch of homes in a wetland that's gonna flood immediately upon a rain. I don't see that as the case.
And to elaborate, like, I mean, if you look at I can show you the topography map of it, it's not that there's a natural spring there that's popping up and draining water. What's happening is the basin is draining, like, it's the low point, like, it's just sloped down that way, the water's draining that way, and when you have a stormwater control measure, the whole point is to convey that water, around it. It's our issue. But again, I don't wanna have to debate I don't want people to feel like I'm gonna debate every stream call or buffer call that they have.
Noted. Further discussion.
I do wanna talk about the solar, because that's something I was thinking about giving you a hard time about. You have one, maybe two more buildings, and, two more active units, and there was some debate whether, 2 or 4 or 6. I decided to not give you a huge hard time about it, because really this rezoning isn't about 12 units, it's about 4 units, maybe even 2 units. Like, you're already entitled for the 8 units. So the way I see it, the two solar PV systems you're offering, that represents 50% of the new homes that are built. So I think we can take that as a new baseline for rezonings going forward, right? So 50% from now on, like this rezoning, and we'll be good with it. So I do appreciate that condition.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? And that's the motion with the
We already
conditions
make a motion?
added.
With the conditions as offered by the applicant.
Okay, very well.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Yes.
Can the clerk confirm whether the public hearing was open and closed on this matter?
It was.
It was, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second was Gray. Okay. All right. No further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed unanimously. All right, public hearing 5, Transportation Plan Amendments Legacy Fund. Presented by Shannon Cox. There you are.
Good evening. The proposed amendments to the transportation plan tonight impact both the thoroughfare and Collector Street plan map and the bicycle and pedestrian system plan map. And they are associated with the Legacy Station development, which is south of US 64, west of the American Tobacco Trail, and north of Olive Chapel Road. The proposed amendment to the thoroughfare and Collector Street plan map is to remove this future roundabout along this future major collector street. This roundabout was actually added to our plan with the rezoning. It was anticipated that there would be a 3-legged intersection in this location. Now that they've moved forward with the layout and the plans, there will not be a 3-legged intersection here. So there's really no need for a roundabout. The proposed amendment to the bicycle and pedestrian system plan map is a slight shift north from this proposed greenway. So it would be located here. The amendments are requested by the developer. Planning staff support the amendments. We have no concerns. Transportation staff are also supportive, as are Parks and Recreation, and Police and Fire had no concerns. These amendments were reviewed by the Planning Board at their November 14th meeting, and they were unanimously recommended for approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Any questions? Hearing none. All right. Thank you so much. All right, we'll go ahead and open up public hearing for this item for comment. No one has signed up to speak. We'll close public hearing, and it's back to council for discussion. Or motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved, Stallings, second, Gant. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passed unanimously. Public hearing 6. It's Amanda Bunce, Unified Developmental Ordinance Amendments, November 2022.
All right, I have 2 amendments for you tonight. The first one is simple. Due to the reorganization of some town departments, the name of the planning department and director position is changing from Director of Planning and Community Development to the Department of to Planning Department, and so the director would drop and Community Development as well. And so the proposal was that all references to the director name and department name in the UDO would be changed. Any questions on that? There will be more department names changing in the future. Stay tuned.
I think we had the original, is this a switch back to the,
This is
what it was,
switch
right?
back to the
That's what I
original,
thought.
yes. And so the next amendment is to the buffering section in order to clarify buffer planting requirements. And this is something that's just been addressed over time while reviewing plans that we often have to provide feedback on as we're reviewing. And so one is that for the type A buffer, the shrubs that are required in that buffer should be spaced no further than 6 feet apart, and that's to ensure the level of opacity that's intended by this buffer type. So we're making that crystal clear. And then in the location of buffers, clarifying that an increased buffer width implies and means that there is an increase in the number of plants. So approximately a 20-foot wide buffer should have a 20-foot wide buffer should approximately have twice the number of plants as a 10-foot wide buffer. So that's a simple change. That's the planning board heard this in November at their meeting and recommended approval. Staff recommends approval of the amendments as well. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
I do have one question. I thought it was interesting that you used the phrase, "It's clear" when we're talking about opacity, so.
Thank you.
That's perfect. Any other clarity necessary? All right, we're good? All right, thank you.
Bad jokes.
Yeah, bad jokes, right? It was interesting. All right, we'll open up public hearing for this item. No one has signed up to speak, so we'll close public hearing and it's back to council. Is there a motion?
Move.
All right, motion, Gray.
Second.
Second, Stallings. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. All right, now on to new business. New business 1, resignation of Councilmember Cheryl Stallings. I think the resignation letter is in the packet. We all had an opportunity to review it. Again, bittersweet moment. You still have an opportunity to stay.
I wish I could do both. I've been doing both for about 8 months, it seems like, but
Right.
it's been very bittersweet, so,
Yes, ma'am.
as you all know. So.
All right. Everything that was said before, we, again, thank you for everything you've done. Town Clerk Alan Coleman, do you have any comments on this one, sir? Okay.
I will, we already gave all our speeches, right?
That's correct.
You guys want to do it again?
No, we're good.
No? Okay. I move we accept the resignation of Councilmember Stallings.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Motion, Mahaffey, second. Mayor Pro Tem, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously. All right. New business 2, filling vacancies, governing body. And this will be led by Councilmember Terry Mahaffey and Rules Committee Chair and Alan Coleman, Town Clerk.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. So over the past couple months, we've been meeting to consider some policies concerning, as the item says, the resignation of a member and the process, how we work to fill those vacancies. It's been me, Councilmember Gray, supported by Alan, town manager, a bunch of other people. And what we're bringing before the body tonight is that policy, as well as the actual, so I think there's 2 documents, maybe 2 motions we make. One is kind of a high-level vague policy. I would describe it as pretty standard. in terms of how it is. More importantly, really what I think we need to go into detail about is, in this case today, how we're going to implement that policy to fill the upcoming vacancy that we just approved, concerning Councilmember Stallings' resignation. So that's what the two documents are. And I think what I'd like to do actually is, we've all had the opportunity to view this. I'd like to turn it over to the clerk to maybe go through the timeline for what it's going to look like for filling this vacancy, so the public is aware of the steps we're going to go through over the next, 5 or 6 weeks here. So.
Okay, awesome. And I'll just add to, just for the public's awareness, a total of 18 different communities were studied and reviewed. We reviewed their processes and presented that back to the Rules Committee. So this was consistent with what other communities are doing in these types of situations. So just wanted to provide that as well.
Alan, before you get into like the new stuff, can you explain a little bit why we're even doing this? Because she's not the first vacancy to come up. So like, what's happened in the past, and like, what's the context for this, if you don't mind?
Sure. So I think, just to have an open and transparent process, allows, that's what we are trying to achieve here, is making sure the public has an opportunity to submit for the application and apply for the seat. Also, just so that it's open and transparent. And in prior situations, it's been kind of, it's moved so quickly that not a lot of people have had a chance to, express their interest. So I think that's important. That's one. I would say, secondly, because of this process, it allows the community to stay engaged throughout each point in the process. And so when that decision is made to appoint someone, the community is hopefully well-versed on who is selected.
I do want to add, there's no statutory requirement for us to do any of this.
Right.
Like, we could, maybe even right now, move to appoint someone and just be done. And maybe that's kind of how it's worked in the past. But I think the observation is, even though it's more work to go through this process, it's better from a transparency point of view. But the statute just says we appoint someone, so we can just do it if we wanted to.
Okay.
And that's the full purpose is, do we have a process where it's just kind of sua sponte, make things happen and then it happens? Or do we have something where we solicit input, we make sure that it's as transparent as possible, making sure that as many people get an opportunity to participate? And, as with our goals of being a much more open and, quite frankly, welcoming community, this helps move us in that direction. It would be easier and time-saving just for us to say, we want George, or Bob. But it's much more important that those who are residing here get an opportunity to have that input, to have the feedback, and most importantly, see the process.
Yeah.
If you see the process, you can participate in the process, and that makes the process fair.
Yeah, and to provide, again, to hit back on the point I started with, there's two documents we're approving tonight. One is this kind of abstract policy about us going through a process. The other is the dates and the times and the meetings associated with that process. That policy is going to stand going forward. So, when Ed goes to Congress and, you become governor, we'll have a process in place already. And we'll only approve the one new document, the new timeline. So tonight we're doing two because there's no policy in place. We're setting a policy and we're also putting out a timeline to do it.
Is Congress the name of that new donut place? Because that's what I'm
Okay. So just walking through the timeline, which is included in the agenda packet. Tonight, hopefully, council will endorse and approve the process and the timeline. Beginning tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., there will be a web page that's been designated for this process, and so there will be an application link. The policy will be linked there. The timeline will be linked there. Also, the qualifications needed to fill this position. And I'll just review those. To qualify for consideration, applicants are required to be a registered voter, be 21 years of age or older, be a resident and qualified to vote in Apex corporate limits, and be current on any property taxes due. Application period, again, opens up tomorrow at 9 a.m. and will conclude at 5 p.m. on Friday, December the 9th. As a reminder, just putting it out here, all applications and supporting materials that are included in the application are considered public record, so just notate that, and will be released, without prior notice. Again, the application period closes on Friday, December the 9th. beginning on Monday, December the 12th, and Tuesday, December the 13th. The clerk's office will verify each application is complete, meets the established criteria, and that will be done in a partnership. So that will be done with leaders from the Wake County Tax Administration, verifying the tax records, and then also the Board of Elections, verifying the voter status. On Tuesday, December 13th, that's the council meeting day. A report of all the applicants will be shared with the mayor, council, and the general public all at the same time. The clerk's office and communications team, of course, will work together to produce a press release, releasing that information, releasing the link to the application, letting the public know what's the next step in the process, kind of thing. That will go out on social media, the town's website, and any media outlets, so newspapers, TV stations, that kind of thing. Friday, December the 16th, the mayor and each council member will provide the town clerk with up to 7 candidates to be interviewed by the close of business day that day. That Friday, we will tally the nominations and then do a press release that displays who has been nominated and who got the majority votes to be considered for interview. Again, that will do another press release. Again, it's all about engagement, keeping the community engaged on where we are in the process. A special meeting is scheduled for Friday, January the 6th. This special meeting will be held, of course, with the mayor, council members, the manager, attorney, myself will all be present because it is a special meeting of council. Interviews will be conducted, council will deliberate, and there will also be an opportunity for a public hearing at that time. So the public is, all of this will be televised, live streamed, open to the public, and so they can come participate, watch online, and then, come and speak to, what their feelings are on the potential candidates. The first regular meeting, so council adopted the meeting schedule for 23 on consent. The first regular meeting for January is Tuesday, January the 10th. At that regular meeting, council again will discuss and deliberate and then ultimately nominate someone for appointment to that seat. The person selected, of course, for that position will serve out the remainder of the unexpired term, which is being vacated by Councilmember Stallings, which will go through the swearing-in ceremony December 6th of 2023. Again, this is just the swearing-in ceremony will happen at Tuesday, January the 12th, which is the council strategic planning meeting, and then orientation will begin the Monday following. Just a few reminders, the person selected will serve out the remainder of Council Member Stallings' unexpired term. All interested applicants who meet the qualifications are encouraged to apply. If you have questions about the process, questions about the application, please direct those to the clerk's office, and we will answer those best as we can. Again, Councilmember Mahaffey already said, according to North Carolina General Statutes, Apex Town Code and the Apex Town Council, the Apex Town Council has the authority to appoint a qualified individual to fill this seat until the residents have the opportunity to elect a successor in the 2023 Apex municipal elections. So I think that covers it. Any
Thank
closing?
you so much. I'll just say, I just want to comment and thank Councilman Mahaffey, Councilman Gray, and Town Clerk Alan Coleman for all the work you've done in this process. I know there's a lot involved, so thank you for that. And I know in the spirit of transparency, I just want to kind of reiterate what Alan said about making sure everything is routed through the clerk's office, because I want to make sure people see that there's one point of contact, so. We can
That's a
always
good point,
support that.
Mayor, is that we're not actually, we're not involved at all going forward. We're gonna approve this policy, this timeline. When you apply, we're not gonna see them until the date that was on that meeting, I forget, the 12th or the 13th. Whatever it
13th
is.
of December.
13th of December, we're not gonna see them before the public does. So we're just riding along at this point. It's all gonna go through Alan. Any questions should go to him. And we're, this is what we got.
Thank you so much for
So
that.
the bundles of money and the bribes all go to the town clerk, is that what you were saying? Okay.
There's no bribery,
No bribery.
no bundles.
All right,
of
now we
money.
gotta say a bunch of stuff.
Great. Thank you for your leadership.
Well,
All right.
I would just echo the manager as well as the attorney was part of that rules committee, so they
Oh, yes,
provided some
thank you.
guidance and some feedback as part of that, so
Thank you.
they are included in that.
Yeah, and it's a very, you go through the schedule, it sounds like a lot, but I think it's important. And I'll say, the dates here, in case it's not,
today is when Councilmember Stallings submitted a resignation, so we don't want to start replacing you while you're still here.
It's not effective until December the 4th,
Right.
11:59 PM. I just-
But also, kind of at the other end, we're trying to hit, we have our council retreat scheduled for January 12th.
Right.
And in a perfect world, this all goes smoothly, the new council member, their first act, and sort of be coming to that new retreat with us all, get oriented, do the drum circle thing, play some trust balls and stuff like that. So that's sort of like the bookends that we're looking, and that sort of dictated a lot of the schedule.
And I would just like to say, as the person exiting, I really appreciate all the work. I have a lot of faith in this process, and I have a lot of faith in you all, and to do the right thing. And I'm looking forward to the next person who'll be occupying the seat. So.
Very good.
It was a service to the town and to us that you guys did all that work. So yeah,
Yeah.
want to echo that appreciation for sure.
All right, is that your motion, Council?
Yeah, I think we got two motions to make here. So I move that we approve the policy concerning the resignation of mayor or member of town council and the filling of the vacancies.
And I'll second that.
All right, got a motion and second. Discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously. Next one.
And with that policy, I now move that we approve the process that the clerk just described and the schedule to fill the coming at-large vacancy on the Apex Town Council.
And I'll second that.
All right, motion Mahaffey, second Gray. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously. Excellent, we got a process. Roll on. All right, we have updates now by Town Manager Catherine H. Crosby.
You almost gave away my whole government name.
It's printed, I'm just reading what's on the notes.
All right, I have 3 updates. The first is on December 6th, we will be holding an open house for the Downtown Design Project. That's going to be at our senior center on town campus from 5 to 7 for the community to learn more about the final designs for 3 of our top 10 downtown design projects. Secondly, the farmers market is moved to a new location at Beaver Creek Crossings beginning in December. The market will move to the winter schedule or winter market model, which is the first and third Saturday of the month, and then from December through March. And third, we have our tree lighting and Christmas parade this weekend, so we're really looking forward to that. Please check out our website for some updates on that. So I look forward to seeing you all on Friday and Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Crosby. All right. Moving now to closed session. North Carolina General Statute 143, 318.116. So is there a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
All right, motion Gant, second, Mayor Pro Tem Killingsworth. All right, discussion? Yeah, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously, we're going into closed session.
And can you clarify, we're not, no more business happening here,
No
right?
more business will be conducted
A tie.
Split council vote.
Like split council vote. Why? Because we didn't want the.
All right, thank you. Good business tonight. Motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passed unanimously. The meeting